Well, hello and welcome back to the woods. So I'm out on an absolutely brilliant trip, one I've been looking forward to doing for absolutely ages. So it's going to be an open tarp, and I just love that type of camping. Yeah, you just feel so much more at one with nature when you're sort of not enclosed, etc. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you over to where we're going to set up camp just now, and I'm going to show you particularly why I've picked this particular position. Now, the weather is meant to be horrendous for the next 2 days, so I do apologise. The really strong winds, the noise of the winds through the trees is going to potentially be a bit of an issue, but I'll try and amend that. But also it's going to be torrential rain, but I've got a little bit of a break in the rain at the moment, so I thought I'd try and get the shelter set up. But let's go over and I'll explain why. So anyone that watches the channel will know that I've done quite a lot of camping trips here, and I've actually just spent about 45 minutes wandering around the forest, just actually having a look for a different location. But I keep coming back to this spot, and the reasons why, if you look at the branches that are down, plus trees etc as well, there's all sorts of devastation around the woodland. We call them sort of widow makers, where sort of sharp branches could conceivably fall down and sort of go through your shelter etc. But considering this place have sort of clear it every time I come here, but if you look at it, it's clear. So branches all the way around there, but it is clear there. Now, I'm also furthest from the wind direction, which is going to make a bit of a difference from the audio point of view as well as the shelter itself. But also, even from the rain point of view, the rain sort of getting blown in from the deeper into the woodland there itself. So it's basically the best location. So this is the woodland where I got the deer footage from the last trip, and already just sort of wandering around, there's actually been a lot of deer. I've seen 5 or 6 of them, plus again lots of footprints. The first location I actually went to, the wind was really battered in the woodland, so I was going to have a little bit of a problem, not only from the point of view of the setup that I've got for tonight, but also just more from that point of view of the noise during the night. So I want to try and get a decent night's sleep, which I tend to always do when I'm out in the woods itself. So today's going to be a tarp configuration that I'm going to show you. I've never done it before. I've seen it online a couple of times, I've seen a few videos of it, and I really like it, so I want to give it a wee try. So let's get it set up just now. So this is a 3x3 tarp, and as I said, I've only seen this a couple of times, so first time doing it, so bear with me. But what we do now, I've put a peg in just 2 up on the side, and the top corner here, what we do is we pull it across. So I've just created a bit of a square there, just position wise, just for the next peg, just for the shelter, and I'll show you the reason why in a wee sec. So it's just a case of getting a sort of stick tall enough. As I said, plenty sort of downfall trees and downfall branches and everything as well. So there's one other stick I need to get. I'm probably going to need to go and cut it, but I'm just going to try and measure it just now, just before I go and get it. And then it's just a case of really sort of tightening up down the sides, etc. But it looks really smart so far, but we'll get the other stick and we'll get the last bit set up. then the last bit is just the porch itself. And it's a huge amount of room underneath there. So well impressed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and actually just tighten everything up. Once I've tightened it all up, I'll give you a little bit of a guided tour. But first impressions, really good. So you're lying on the base of the tarp, but again I'll show you that once we're underneath it. That's it. I'm just going to go and torque everything up a wee bit. And I'm going to be using the Gore-Tex bivvy tonight as well. I've got the sleeping bag, don't know whether I'm going to use the sleep mat or not. Let's see how we go. And the other thing I've got as well is the new One Tigris sit mat. So we'll give that a first wee outing. So quite a cool setup, lots of coverage, which is really good. The rain started coming back on again just now, so I said it's going to take a wee bit of time just underneath here, get myself set up. But I said coverage perfect, really good. A couple of wee bits problems with the wood around this woodland just all seems to be rotten. So getting firewood can conceivably be a bit of an issue. I do have some kindling back in the van, so it may be a case of going back to get some kindling just to start the fire. More than anything else, because I said even the lights of the poles here, and every time I'm putting tension on them they're snapping. So I'll see how we go. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a chill out, get the camp set up just finally, and sort of get myself all sorted out. I'm just going to have a little campfire just outside the front, but I'm going to do the usual wood stove, a little wood burning stove, just to sort of protect the woodland. So I'm going to get that set up as well. But first impressions really good. Once I've had a wee chill out, I'm just going to give you a guided tour and I'll show you exactly how I've done the configuration. See you in a wee bit. So that's me finally got everything all set up. Can't believe how much light there is gone already, because basically it is a bit of a miserable day all round, but obviously been in the woodland as well, so it's actually got quite dark. So I've turned on one of the lights just now, just to actually give you a little guided tour of it. Love the setup, really simple, can't quite get the back of it right, but I'm going to turn the camera around and give you a wee guided tour. So basically 3x3 tarp, and then it's just got the two poles there, and just the guy lines out, tensioning everything up. But I said, huge amount of room underneath there. Really smart setup. So I said that's where I'll be sleeping tonight. But I said the only thing I'm struggling a wee bit with is just getting the tension right across the actual back line. But I've also got a guy line out there as well, just to try and sort of give me a bit more room inside it. I said, delighted with that. That is going to be so smart. Now, situation I've got at the moment, as I said, I am losing a lot of light, so I'm going to try and go and get some water and get some food on straight away. Yeah, so as I said, the idea of it was this sort of a minimalist sort of trip, as little as possible. You know, so there's so many things I've not actually brought on this particular trip, which I'm actually quite looking forward to. And to be perfectly honest, I'm finding I'm not needing anything. But instead of sort of cooking up a sort of steak or anything at all, it's literally just going to be super noodles, one pot, one spork, that's it. Just to try and get as much food in me as possible before the heavy rain comes in. And as I said, the wind is meant to be dying down later on, so I'm hoping that happens and I can get a decent night's sleep. But as I say, I'm really impressed with the camp. It's really smart. So I'm going to go and get the fire started. I've managed to get a couple of wee bits just for actual starting fire. Everything else is just absolutely sodden and rotten wood. But hopefully get a wee fire started just now and get some food on. So I've been looking forward to this for the last wee while. I put a bit too much water in, just so that I've actually got almost like a hot drink sort of idea as well. So it smells just absolutely amazing, really nice. But I say that's been a real trouble with the fire, just with wet wood. So luckily I did have a few bits of kindling down in the van, so I went and got that. Oh, just even the warmth from that. I say it's not too cold, it's probably going to get down to about sort of 0, but it should be warm enough. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this off and then I'll hook up with you. So one other thing I was wanting to talk about today as well was I've just got a new gadget just now. So it's a Garmin inReach Mini 2, and basically what it does is it's a satellite communicator. So myself and my partner, we do all sorts of different things. She does wild swimming, both of us do the hiking, etc. as well. So we were really just wanting something where if there was a scenario where we had a problem, one, we can communicate with family. But it's even situations like this, you know, so I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I'm out in the woods, the weather's horrendous, and it's just more a case of I can do check-ins, just sort of saying yes, everything's okay. But it's really just a case of keeping on top of things from the point of view of letting loved ones know that everything is okay, sort of idea. But it doesn't just do that, it also has, you can sort of plot trails, you can do all sorts of different things in it. So really good piece of kit. Something I've never really thought of before taking into the woods, but from the point of view of just sort of keeping safe, etc. as well, and also being able to communicate with loved ones when there's no internet connection, no 4G, 5G, whatever. Definitely worthwhile doing. So I'm going to check in just in a little bit, just sort of saying I'm actually okay, because I've got no internet around this particular area of the woods itself. And then it's probably just going to be a case of hunkering down for a little bit. Rain doesn't seem to be stopping, wind seems to be getting stronger, so it could be in for a bit of a wild night tonight. So we'll see how we go. But what I am going to do is crack open beer number 1, have a little bit of a chill out, and then probably just before bed I'll hook up with us and we'll have a wee chat just before we head off. As I said, I heard quite a lot of deer again, so there are quite a lot of deer in the actual woods. They're calling. They're obviously either smelling the smoke or alternatively smelling me. So again, I always hate sort of disturbing the animals, etc. as well, but we'll see how we go tonight, so this could be quite an interesting one. So as I said, just going to finish off this, enjoy the fire, and then I'll hook up with you. Well, that rain has been brutal, absolutely brutal. It's not stopped, but what has stopped is the wind. So the wind has really settled down, so that's going to be good. So I've actually had a couple hours sleep. I actually managed to fall asleep there as well, so I'm just going to sort of hunker down just now, get into bed and try and get as much sleep as I can. Now, there is a weather warning for tomorrow with heavy rain and flooding, you know, so I can't imagine it raining any more than it has today. But it is just going to be a case of I'll probably get up in the morning, get myself organised and get out the woods as quick as possible. But warm, comfortable. You know, I've ended up putting the Thermarest sleep mat out. I've done my check-ins on the Garmin device as well, and they've responded back saying they've received the message acknowledging that everything's okay. So I think I might be in for a good night. It is quite noisy, obviously, with the rain. But that's what you get for sleeping out in the woods. But still love it. It's still in my absolute element. So barring any incident, I'll see you all in the morning. Good night. Well, to put it delicately, that was a wet one last night. It absolutely poured with rain, just torrential all night long. I'd left my pot out that I had my super noodles in, and just to try and see, and it's about 400 millilitres of water. So that's a huge amount of water, a huge amount of rain last night, and unfortunately the bottom part of the camp is flooded. And there's lots and lots of areas in the woodland itself that's completely flooded. So unfortunately there is a weather warning out today. And the weather warning is for extreme rain with the potential for causing hazardous driving, etc. as well. So I'm probably going to take camp down reasonably soon, unfortunately, and sort of head home. I was wanting to try and spend a wee bit of time out in the woods today, but just everything is just absolutely sodden. So it is going to be a case of just a wee potter about, get camp taken down, head back to the van, get it all into the drying room and get myself ready for the next adventure. But as I said, it is one of those sort of situations where if I didn't ever go out in the rain, I'd never really get a chance to go out and play at all. So really glad I came out, really enjoyed last night, very relaxing, had a really nice sleep, etc. You know, but it's just one of those sort of things, Scotland in the winter. So one other thing I'm going to do just now is, remember what I was talking about last night with the Garmin inReach Mini? So I'm just going to do a quick check-in with the family, just make sure everyone knows I'm okay and survived the heavy rain. Perfect. Okay, that's that sent. And again, definitely a bit of equipment I said I'd never really thought of before for this type of thing, but I think it is definitely relevant. But the flooding in here is not actually as bad as I thought. It's probably about halfway up. But I said it's just the wool blanket and everything as well. Half of that's all sort of sodden. It's what it is. It is what it is. Well, that's me all packed up, ready to go, and I've done my walk around as well, just sort of making sure that I've left no trace whatsoever, apart from a flat piece of ground, which you have to do whenever you go wild camping. It's such an important aspect of it, just making sure that there's nothing here that you've left behind. But I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I know the weather's been absolutely horrendous, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it still. Any time out in the woods I just absolutely love, and I tend to sleep so well, even with the lights of the rain last night. So a thoroughly enjoyable trip, and I can't wait for the next one. Hoping to get out in a hot tent reasonably soon. Ideally I was looking for a bit of snow, but we just seem to be so mild at the moment. Although saying that, it's been really cold this morning. It's been down to sort of 2 degrees Celsius. But thoroughly enjoyable trip and lots more adventures to come. So take care, thank you very, very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Always have to come back for the camera.